Let's talk about something positive. There were a lot of cool moments in this season, a lot of disappointing moments in this season, but if I told you to pick one favorite moment from this 2023-2024 Bills season, what stands out in your brain?
So this is I don't know how out of pocket or left field this will be. But this is a question to me, right? This is
Yeah.
my answer to this.
Yeah.
And I will say the happiest moment of this Bill season to me actually occurred while I was on a flight heading back to North America on Halloween day and looking at my phone and reading a text that literally said, the Bills just traded for Rasul Douglas. That is the happiest moment I had this season. One, as an individual fan of Rasul Douglas for years now, as the Cardinals unfortunately let him just walk to the Packers, even though you kind of saw him in flashes in the preseason and stuff, and then they just wouldn't promote him, even though they had the likes of what they had at corner. Man, that was an interesting thing. But then he really shined with the Packers and became this real solid boundary corner for them. And the Bills were in a situation where, as we discussed, you are a Kyer Elam injury away or any other corner injury away from Josh Norman playing legitimate minutes, on top of the fact that Kyer Elam himself, if not injured, is another corner playing, and that is not a comfortable place. So you're worried about the Trey situation, which looks like, in my opinion and others' opinions, based on the out, there is probably a serious Trey out contract wise situation we will be discussing down the road. That what are we doing for that number one corner spot? Because as much as I love Christian Benford, I'm not quite there yet on him being a true number one. Well, McDermott and the Bills just all of a sudden going and trading for Rasul Douglas, trading for Rasul Douglas, and kind of showing everyone and all of us that they understood the situation in front of them, and they went and got a guy who perfectly fit what McDermott wants to do on defense, and not almost, actually got better at the boundary corner position by doing so for the next few years. It's not just a kind of one season rental situation. That was by far my favorite moment, because not only did it help kind of project the team back into or propel the team back into a position to get that 2 seed, but on top of it, they now have legitimate corner depth going into the next years, where the questions were definitely there, even with Trey White, if he didn't get hurt.
I love that pick. Does this look as ridiculous as I feel it does that I'm drinking
It
out of a
looks kind of
gallon?
ridiculous.
Because
Every once in a while, I'm wondering if
yeah.
you're just drinking like one of those gas station, like, colored flavored drinks, like
Yeah.
just sugar water. But
So
no,
I'm trying to get my water right. Nobody cares about that. But like I came down for the show and I was like, on the show is a great time to just get some water in because my throat's always dry because I'm talking a lot. And I just brought this down. I'm like, I feel like one of those gym bros that like carries around the big old gallon of water just to like show off to the world that I'm drinking water. Like, hey, look at me with my gallon. I don't know why I went with that accent there. Good notes in chat here. I will tell you my favorite moment, and a lot of it was become, and you know what, Ben Drips, that's a great question. We will get to that right next. That's a great question about Leonard Floyd. Um, Favorite moment is not only because of how it made me feel live, but because of some of the subsequent video that came out after. Deontay Hardy's punt return touchdown against Miami week 18. That entire day was a moment. Sweating out the Titans and the Jaguars game because that meant that the Bills had life. And then everything that led up to that, and then knowing that game came down to winning the AFC East, because ultimately the Bills didn't win the Super Bowl, but in your heart of hearts and in your mind, you knew they had to win the AFC East to have a real look at it. This team was just not going to go on the road, to Baltimore and then to Kansas City to get to the Super Bowl if they survived Miami in the wild card round. So, the fact that they couldn't get anything going offensively, Deontay Hardy got them tied up with that return. And then some of the videos that came out after of just like the swarm and the wave of Bills fans cheering for that made it look like a home game. And the fact that it was on Hard Knocks, it was pretty cool. So I'm gonna go with Deontay Hardy. I love your Rasul Douglas pick though, because we actually put that feeler out of trade deadline week. We are like, hey, there's a guy to keep an eye on.
yeah.
Some rumors out there he could be available, and we shall see.